trade review for the previous week, trading week. Quite interesting. So last week had an 100% win rate. To coming into this week having a 20% win rate. But I'm super happy with this week because I had a lot of lessons that were taught to me this week, and I'll get into that. But I'm gonna do it a bit different this time. I'm not gonna review all the trades. I'm just gonna break down like what happened, kind of like just a summary. So this whole week, 5 out of 6 trades followed our rules, which is amazing. It's not amazing, but it's good. Obviously, we want to get it to 6 out of 6 or 100%. So it's not amazing. It's okay. Um, it's obviously not the ideal situation, but that's what we wanna reach 6 out of 6. And the trade that didn't follow my rule, I think was this one right here. And the reason it didn't follow my rule is because of the entry time. Just a bit too excited. Too excited. Entered at 2. I can enter from 2, but I'm not to enter before 2. So 155 is not a part of my rules. I should have waited. And even though I am allowed to enter at 2, it's not something I recommend. I'll rather just wait for 3. For something to set up. But if there's something really nice at 2, I'm able to take it. But I didn't follow my rules here. Why did I do this? Um, I was focused on the money. I was focused on the money this day and not my system. I remember I was actually out in the city, and I remember um, I was having lunch and I was entering this trade. I was so locked into my phone on the markets because I just wanted to get in a trade because my system isn't working so well. I felt like I can if I can kind of like an invincible type of feeling of like I can do what I want. I can break my rules and it's okay. I can disobey the systems which have brought me to profitability. Yeah, I was focused a lot more on the money than the system, and I wasn't trading from a place of a profitable trader. A profitable trader can let these things go and doesn't feel the need to enter outside of his rules because they know that within the confines of their rules and within their rules, that's where profitability lies, not outside their rules, trying to chase money and trying to run after money, right? And that's what I was doing this day. I was trying to run after money and chase money, and this is what happened. I lost, and even if I won, it wouldn't have been good, But it's a reflection, it's something to reflect on. So this is a trade which didn't follow my rules, and it's something I really want to work on coming into next week, and that's fully following my rules. So out of this whole week, um, I would say I had 3 out of 6 high quality setups that were high quality. Just means like A plus. Um, there was some trades here which I'll consider like a B plus, but high quality is A plus, and I had 3, so 50% of them were A plus. The rest of them were not mid to not C, but between that B plus and A range, which is not bad. I'm willing to take that trade within that range, but it's just something to keep in mind if I want to tighten up and really focus on only taking those higher quality setups. It's something to keep in mind, and what are the trades which were not higher quality and why weren't they higher quality. For instance, this was a high quality trade right here. That was one which went break even. This trade actually did reach around like 1.5R before taking us out of break even. There was just no place for me to trail my stop. So we entered right here. It brought us all the way down to like around 1.7, but there was no place for us to, I like to see a high being formed. That's why I put my stop loss and just trail until we reach these lows. There's no place really for us to hit our stop, and if we were just to hold, it would have hit, but that's not our strategy. We move on. For instance, a trade like this, which did follow my rules, everything I needed to see was there. So we did have the hourly trend slash context. We had the 30-minute range, which we tapped into. We had a 15-minute confluence that we were moving from. But a higher quality trade, which is why it's not an A, would have our entry being closer to that 50% range and not at this already when we are making the move, because something like this could happen. Not to say that our idea is wrong. As you see here, our idea was not wrong because we did end up doing what we wanted to do, right? We just positioned it within the wrong place. And that's something that we got to understand, because even though the idea was right, we're looking for a sell from the 50% range, from the from the premium of the 30% range to then hit the low of the range, which is exactly what happened. But we positioned ourselves within the wrong part of the trade. We positioned ourselves here, but I think because we didn't get an entry in the place we wanted it, the first thing we were chasing for was the entry, but it kind of exhausted itself out. We should have waited for us to maybe get above here a bit and then sell off, or it's not a bad setup, because it's on another day, this could have definitely played out, right? If we're extremely bearish, this could have definitely played out to take us out to here, but that's not what happened, which is okay, which is completely fine, but something to keep in mind for next time. So out of the week, we had half of the trades were A plus trades, the other half were not A plus trades. Does not mean they're not good trades, just not the highest quality, that's all. And overall, I learned a big lesson this week. So this week was a quite interesting week. So as you can see here, I was losing every day. So I was losing Sunday, Monday. I had a break-even day on Monday. I had a loss and a break-even day on Monday, which did hit around 1.7 R, but we just didn't take anything. A loss on Tuesday, a loss on Wednesday, and then Thursday, we made back 3 of the 4 losses, right? In a great trade, which followed our system. We didn't change a single thing. We stuck to exactly what we were doing when we were losing. We didn't do anything different to what we were doing when we were losing. We did the same thing, and a trade hit, which made back 3R of the 4R in which we lost this week, right? And it was the exact same thing, right? Higher time frame trend slash context, 30-minute range, 15-minute confluence, entry, right? It got in some deep drawdown before giving us the move, but it just goes to show that we need to trust the system, because the system is what keeps us profitable, not detouring from the system. And if I was to follow my rules 100% of the time of this week, I would have had a break-even week, because I had one trade which did not follow my rules. So I would have taken that out. I would have had a break-even week, but shoulda, coulda, woulda. It's not about that. I think this week was a great week in my opinion, because it showed me to just trust my system, to just let things play out. Even if it seems like things are not going right, don't allow yourself to be overly emotional. I think there was parts in this week where I felt quite emotional, but I didn't act on my emotions, but I felt the emotions. I felt quite emotional, like, why am I not winning? I just came from 100% win rate week. Where's all the wins going? Can I still trade? Is my system working? But I pushed that to the side and I just kept trading, because I know how this game works. It's about consistency. And this week just came here to show that following the system is the most important part. Because weeks like this will happen where I'll lose. But if I know that my system does work, all I need to do is just continuously follow the system, and the trades will work themselves out, as happened here. So we finished this week down around like 1.5R. We also did, so I was trading on my eval. If we're considering the eval, we did finish the week profitable, because I did also take the trades on my eval. But obviously, obviously, I consider those as one trade. So, um, yeah, I think I don't want to really count the eval because there's nothing really at stake. I'm just trying to pass another eval. But overall, this week was a good week. It was a good week in terms of us. Out of the week, 5 out of 6 trades followed our rules. Right. Only one trade, and that's what we need to work on next week. That's something we need to work on next week. I want to come into next week recording a video saying that I followed my rules 100% of the week. I don't want to come in with any stupidity that I broke my rule one time throughout the week. No. Next week's goal is to follow it 100%. But this week is a good week. Things to work on next week, like following our rules. I'll put a screenshot in of where both our accounts are at the moment, and we'll just keep going from there. But yeah, this is a review for this week.